So this is probably the first time in any of my concerts that I've singled a piece out. Normally I look at something historical or musicological or overarching thing. Today I've singled one piece, which is Bach's Concerto for 2 violins in D minor. Now, if you recall all those long time ago when I was talking about naming pieces, Handel's Concerto is one example. The Bach is another one. We have a double violin concerto, harmonies with 2 violins. The Bach double, as it is mostly known. And I take a bit of issue with that naming because I think that it is a more democratic process than just 2 soloists stood at the front. You can kind of picture when you think of this piece, normally 2 violinists at the front with a sea of players. You have 5 first violins that way, 4 violins that way, and with doing it with only 1 to a part, I think is really enlightening my view of the piece as well. I've picked out a couple of musical examples just to get you thinking about some of the ideas that I want to discuss. So I'm just going to isolate one passage first in the first movement of the piece, bar 30. I'm just going to do it with me and wing. So this is what you might call violin 1 principale and violin 2 principale. So bar 30. That's one completely wrong. That's just a small selection of what we do. So it's quite virtuosic, lots of fast semiquavers. But what's going on underneath it? Let's take Matthew, Rhys, and Elizabeth from the same section. Bar 30. So what they have at that point, that was exactly the same point in the music as what me and Wing just played, right? What they have is a variation on the main theme of the piece. So you have a melodic contour in their part that's structural to the piece, or a bunch of flashy semiquavers. Which would you prefer to hear? Of course, it's the main theme. But so many times you hear the 2 violins just go, just completely overpowering the main substance of the music. But then what you also noticed as well were those 2 bars of complete silence, where they don't do anything. So this is sort of what I'm trying to think about, where the soloists are weaving in and out of the texture. Yeah? So sometimes we are the important passage and then we can come out, but then when they have that moment, we relax a bit and we let them do the main thing, because this is structurally inherent to the piece. So what about the subject then? What do I mean by subject? Well, just like the Vivaldi that we just heard, this is a fugue. So if you remember what I said earlier, a fugue is where one main theme is passed around the different parts of the orchestra. So I just want to put that into a bit of perspective for you. Can we take it, everyone please, from bar 4 to 6, the first movement? Everyone please from 4 to 6. Firstly, at the very start of that, you have heard that me and Matthew, who are playing sort of first violin together at that point, we have the main theme there. Then we go into a little short episode where me and Wing take up the main in dialogue and material. Then it goes to Ollie, Cornelius, and Alexander. So then neither of us are really relevant within the music because the main focus is in the cellos. So this is really the point that I want to make. In a double violin concerto, why would the cellos be the one we want to listen to, right? Because, you know, it's if that was the main how we discussed it. But I think if we look at it in the way that Bach put it in the manuscript, which is concerto for 2 violins, strings, and continuo, I think that really encapsulates what the piece is trying to do. We have 2 violins who pop in and out of the texture, or pop out of the texture more importantly, but the main thing is that everybody has a lot of material throughout. Let's show you some bits from the second movement now, which is the Largo Tanto. This one is more of a lyrical movement. I just now want to look at some of the ways in which the soloists engage with the ensemble in terms of doing some similar gestures. So if we could take me some halfway through bar 4. Same rhythm there, and across the rest of the group as well, we have the same type of thing going on. So this is sort of where we as soloists need to be connected with the rest. We need to lead at that point. We need to. It becomes then, while Wing has the flowing semiquavers that keep the tempo going, it's us to create that gestural thing. I'm just going to find the next. And then as well in this movement, and if you can find 29, please, we have moments where the orchestra really drives the 2 soloists forward. So Wing and I act as a little team throughout this movement, but at this moment is where the orchestra really pushes us forward. Let's show you what we need. 29. Shorter notes that we've had that really drives us forward. Bach changes this articulation because he wants us to go, he wants us to push it. It's almost a bit romantic in this sort of sense, the real climax of this section. The last thing I want to do before we play it through is talk about this bit in third movement now. So we're going to go from bar 29, if you can find that please. So I mentioned that me and Wing are a bit of a team. What do I mean by team? Well, what Bach really creates so brilliantly across this movement, I feel, is 3 groups of players, 3 teams that all work together in this in harmony. So can we take this from 29, Ollie, Cornelius and Alexander, our bass section. Just listen to what they have to play from 29. So what we have here is the bass line. It's like our drum kit. It keeps us together, keeps us fairly grounded. Now to the layers, we add the second team, the next three players up. So Elizabeth, Rhys and Matthew, please, from 29 as well. So everyone except me, I think, if you guys want to join as well. So what they do is they're like the harmony. They're like, if they're the drum kit of our band, this is the guitar section, this is the harmony. So they colour what the melody is doing. So now I want to add Wingenine. So if we have our drum kit, we have our guitars, here are our lead guitarists. Unfortunately I don't listen to enough pop music to think of any, but you guys might. You know, these are the people who sort of stand at the front and try to command everything else. So let's go from 29 a tad slower because I don't know why I'm going that fast. I won't be able to play it. But 29. 1, 2, this is what I talk about roles changing. So Wink and I start with more of a tune, more of something that it grabs your attention. Then we have a tutty section. Then all of a sudden, the guitar team come out, right? And they play together this really great set of arpeggios that come in and out of the main theme, if you like. So it's them that become the real soloists. So now we should call it a 2-violin viola concerto. But then we call it a double violin concerto. And it's this type of thing that I'm trying to argue today, is that obviously later, after this, after this, I will take any questions from you, from whatever you want to know from this concert, because I know that this is a very different interpretation to Bach than you're used to. You're maybe more used to having a symphony orchestra setting where there is more of an orchestra instead of a chamber group. But if I could give you my closing statement, I would say that this piece, as a concerto for 2 violins, strings and continuo, perfectly encapsulates what the piece is trying to do. While me and Will have most of the solos, if we lose some of those passages that the other players have, the piece makes very little sense. Everything is derived from themes. And Bach lets everything weave in and out. It's a give and take. We sometimes have the main thing, sometimes they do. And I think some modern performances, even today, very much focus on the 2 violins as the main thing throughout. And I think you lose so much of the brilliant genius that is underneath the interpretation. Right, I've talked the talk. Shall we walk the walk? Hey.